Today is the third slide of synchronous machine, synchronous motor. Now the topic is effect of increased load on with a constant excitation on synchronous motor. The effect of increased load on synchronous motor will be studied by the with a different excitation condition. The excitation, that means the field current excitation given to the rotor. As we know, the earlier class we said that normal excitation means the field current is rated, and when the field current is more than rated current, that means over excited condition, and when field current is less than rated current, then that is called a under excitation condition. So by the different excitation we can study the what are the effect is going with the load increasing and excitation increasing. So what are the effects will be we see in the synchronous motor. Under normal excitation condition, EB equal to V. With the under excitation condition, EV is less than V. Over excitation condition, back EMF is greater than the supply voltage. The value of excitation would be kept constant. See in the figure, R is considered negligible. The armature parameters, armature resistance parameter for RA and armature reactance parameter XS, and resultant EMF ER and IA, that is theta at 90 degrees. Under normal excitation condition, will be equal to V. The back EMF and supply voltage are equal and opposite direction, and armature current is nearly equal to 0. The armature current equal to 0 is not possible, but it practically not possible because of there is a losses or existing conditions even though load is 0. Okay, see in the 36.15, EV equal to V shows the condition when the motor is running with a light loaded condition. When the load is light, its minimum load, the torque angle alpha is small. The torque angle or the load angle alpha, this is the angle between the back EMF and supply voltage. When the load and losses are 0, so in this condition alpha is 0. But lightly loaded condition, alpha is a light, that means the load angle is minimum, that is small, or the torque angle also small. So in the figure we see in the EV equal to V, even though load is low and excitation is normal, EV is nearly equal to V. In this condition, a resultant EMF, the resultant EMF is a vectorical difference between the back EMF to the supply voltage. ER equal to EB minus V. So ER is minimum because of EB and V's are equivalent, opposite, slightly different. So that there is a slightly small ER is there. Hence IA also small because of IA is ER1 by ZS. Because of ER1 is small, IA is small. Okay, and Phi1 is the power factor angle. Power factor is angle is small because of the power factor angle is it is a angle between supply voltage and supply current. Whenever power factor angle is small, then power factor is large. Okay, so you remember that when normally and light loaded condition, the back EMF and supply voltage are equal, nearly equal and opposite direction. So the ER1 is small. Because of ER1 and IA1 is directly proportional, the current is small. When ER1 is small, current is small. And current and power factors are inverse relation. As we know that power P equal to VI cos pi. From this equation, we can say that I equal to P by V cos pi. Whenever I is small, cos pi is high. So currents and cos pi are power factors are inverse relations. So it is clear that in the 13.6.15 these are the vector diagrams. Now suppose the load of the motor is increased. If load is increased, then 36.115b, see that for meeting the extra load, motor must develop more torque by drawing the more current, armature current. Whenever armature current is more, then the vectorical difference between V's are very increasing. So what actually happening here is rotor falls back. So the load angle also increases. When the load is increasing, remember that in the synchronous machines, when the load is increasing, the rotor falls back, and so that load angle also increases. As we observe in the 36.15b figure, the resultant voltage also armature increased considerably to the new ER2. That is, the result IA1 increases to IA2, thereby increasing the torque developed by the motor. Oh, next coming to 36.16. Since increasing in armature current as much greater than the slightly decreasing the power factor, when the armature currents are increases with the load, then power factors are slightly decreasing here, as we see in the figure 36.16. The torque developed by the motor is increased on the whole to a new value sufficient to make the extra load put on the motor. It will be seen that eventually it is by increasing its IA that the motor is able to carry the extra load put on the it. The effect of increased load on the synchronous motor at normal excitation shown in the figure 36.16. So even though the excitation is constant, by the increasing in the load, armature current would be increases from alpha 1 with a light load condition, that is a load angle, and see here in the 36.16 figure, alpha 2 is increasing in load from initial point. ER1 and ER2 are moving forward from ER1 to ER2 in the clockwise direction with a only increasing in the load, and the load angle, the power factor angle also pi 1 to pi 2. So in this condition, the alpha load angle is increasing and resultant voltage ER2 also increasing, and armature current IA1 to IA2 is increasing, and power factor angle pi 1 to pi 2 is increasing, but power factor cos pi is decreasing with increasing in load. So now coming to the under excited condition, from the normal excited condition we seen in the last figure. So now coming to the under excited condition as shown in the figure 36.16 with a small load and hence small torque. So in this condition we see under excited means the flux produced by the rotor is very less. So the flux produced by the rotor is very less, then the back EMF developed in the armature conductor is very less than the supply voltage available in the armature conductors. So the back EMF is very less and than the supply voltage in this condition, under excited condition. As shown in the figure 36.17 with a small load, hence small torque angle alpha 1, IA1 lags behind V by a large phase angle Y1, which means poor power factor. A much larger armature current must flow for developing the same power because of poor power factor. As load increases, ER1 increases to ER2. So you should remember that the point 1, whenever load is increases, ER1 also increases. That means resultant EMF is increases from ER1 to ER2. Consequently, IA1 and IA2 also increases. For the power factor angle decreases from pi 1 to pi 2. Due to increase in both IA and power factor, power generated by the armature increases to meet the increased load. It seems in the case change in power factor is more than the changing in armature current. So in the last normal excited condition and under excited condition, as we observed here, load is increasing, armature current is increasing, and ER1 is increasing from ER2, and load angle also increasing, and but power factor is decreasing. Overexcited condition, here in this overexcited condition also. So in the overexcited condition means the rotor flux is more. The rotor develops a more flux. This more flux cuts the armature conductor. Then the back EMF available in the armature conductor is more than supply voltage. When running on the light loaded condition, whenever overexcited condition, when running on the light loaded condition, alpha 1 is small. So you should remember that condition, whatever may be the over or under excited or normal excited condition, the alpha one depends upon the, that is the torque angle or the load angle is depends upon the load condition. So when the machine is running under the light loaded condition, alpha one is small, but IA1 is comparatively large and leads V by the larger angle. So here we should remember that in the over-excited condition and under and normal excited condition, so see in the figure, V is the supply voltage, is the base voltage, reference voltage. In the vector diagram, V is only the reference. And IA2 and IA1 are, see, IA1 is there because of leading, that means over-excited condition. And IA2 is here because of ER is a resultant EMF changes the position from ER1 to ER2 in the clockwise direction. So whenever ER1 and ER2s are changing position, then IA1 and IA2s are changing positions in the clockwise directions. Okay. So like the under-excited motor, as a motor load is applied, the power factor improves and approaches to the unity condition. When load is increasing, then currents are moves from IA1 to IA2, and if still increases the load, then currents will be reaches to the unity condition. Current reaches to the unity conditions also. So in this condition 36.18, the armature current also thereby producing the necessary armature power to make the increase. In this case, power factor angle pi decreases or power factor increases at a faster rate than the armature current, thereby producing the necessary increase in power to meet the increased load applied to the motor. You see, remember here 6.18 clear here, and over excited, under excited condition. To draw any vector diagram, supply voltage is reference. If it is over excited condition, the current will be leads, and under excited condition, the currents will be lag by the reference voltage. Okay, this is the excitation and load, effect of excitation on synchronous motor and effect of changing load on synchronous motor. So here is the main summary is, as load on the motor increases, IA increases regardless of the excitation, as we said in the earlier topic. So whatever normal or the under or the over excited condition, if the load is increases, armature current is increases. For under and over excited motors, power factor tends to approach the unity with the increasing in the load. That means for under and over excited motors, power factors tend to approach the unity with increasing in the load. So increasing in the load means whenever load is increases, the armature current reaches to the reference voltage, both with under and over excited condition. Change in power factor is greater than IA with increasing load. So the power factor changing is very less, but armature current changes is the more. With the normal excitation, when the load is increased, change in IA is greater than the power factor, which tends to become increasing in the lag condition. So it is a clear. So now coming to the topic is the different torques of the synchronous motor. So in the synchronous motor we have the four torque. One is the starting torque, running torque, pulling torque, and flow torque. So as we know, the starting torque of the synchronous motor is the zero. It is a torque developed by the motor when the full voltage is applied to the stator armature winding. It is also sometimes called the break away torque. So this is the break away torque or starting torque. So starting torque starts the machine in any one direction. The starting torque developed in the machine at starting is zero, but the rotor and stator field axis are runs. When stator and rotor field axis are comes at one axis, then the rotor or synchronous machine develops a net torque. Due to the torque, the machine starts rotating, even though the load is increasing or decreasing. Running torque, as its name indicates, it is the torque developed by the motor under running condition. It is determined by the horsepower and speed of the driven machine. Motor must have the breakdown of all maximum running torque greater than the x1. So in this condition, the running torque is the torque. It is helpful to rotate the machine at constant speeds. Pulling torque. A synchronous motor is started as an induction motor till it runs at 2 to 5% below the synchronous speed. Afterwards, the excitation is switched on. The rotor pulled into the step with the synchronous rotating starter phase. The amount of torque at which the motor will pull into step is called the pulling torque. So these are the definition we could understand. And pull-out torque is the maximum torque which the motor can develop without pulling out. That means it cannot be stopped. So before breakdown, there is a alpha, the load angle between the stator and rotor field axis is called the load angle. The angle between stator field axis and the rotor field axis called the load angle alpha. Actually, whenever the load is increasing, the load angle is between the stator field axis and rotor field axis are increasing. And when the load angle reaches nearly 80% or the 90%, above 90%, then the machine stops rotating. So at last, any further gradient load. So whenever the synchronization breaks, so that breaking point develop a torque is called the pull-out torque. Effect of excitation on armature current and power factor. See the topic again. Effect of excitation on armature current, power factor. If you increase or decrease the excitation, so what are the effects is going on the armature current and power factor? What are the behavior structure? You should remember that the armature current and power factor is the inverse relation. From the P equal VI cos phi, I equal to P by V cos phi. This is the normal relation. Consider a synchronous motor in which the mechanical load is constant. The value of excitation for which back EMF EB is equal to see that a synchronous motor is running at a constant mechanical load. The value of excitation for which the back EMF EB is equal in magnitude. AB is equivalent to applied voltage V. Sorry, back EMF EB is equal to applied voltage V is known as the 100% excitation. Sorry, to applied voltage EB is equal to the applied voltage V is known as the 100% excitation, which is shown in the figure 36.47a. The armature current IA lags behind V by the small angle phi. It is the angle theta with the ER is fixed by the standard constant, that is the tan theta equal to XS by R. Machine is running at a constant load and back EMF and supply voltage is equal in magnitude. It is possible only with 100% excitation, which is the armature current IA lags behind V by the small angle phi. See, observe that 36.47 it is the angle theta. Theta is a internal angle. Theta and theta equal to XS by R. ER is fixed by the standard constant, that is tan theta equal to XS by R. So 36.47b figure. Excitation is less than 100%. That is EB is less than. Here ER is advanced clockwise and so is armature current because it lags behind ER by fixed angle theta. The magnitude of IA is increased by its power factor is decreased. Phi has increased because of the input as well as V are constant. Hence the power component, that is I cos phi equal to OA, will remain constant. When the field current is reduced, the motor pull-out torque also reduces with the proportion. So here is a 36.47c. A referent condition for overexcited condition. Normal, lagging and overexcited condition, these are the. So resultant voltage E vector ER is followed anti-clockwise direction. Now motor is drawing the leading current. May also happen for some value of excitation that I armature current may be in with voltage. That is power factor is unity as shown in the example. At the time of the current drawn by the motor would be minimum. So to import the points, the magnet of the armature current varies with excitation. So here is the clear that whenever excitation is lagging or leading, the current will be increased in the both condition. The current has a large value both for low and high values of excitation. But when the excitation is normal condition, the armature current is minimum. Whenever armature current is minimum, that means the excitation is normal excitation. A synchronous machine is running at a normal excited condition. If the excitation is decreasing, then the machine will armature current drawn by machine is more. And remember that point in point 5, a synchronous machine is running at a unity power factor condition or normal excited condition. If the excitation of DC is increased, then the armature current is more. So it is clear that excitation is increasing or decreasing, increasing or decreasing. Armature current is more. Now, same input, armature current varies over a wide range, and so power factor also varies accordingly. When the overexcited, the motor runs with the leading power factor, and with the lagging power factor when under excited condition. In between the power factor and the unity. That means some remember the one important. A synchronous machine is running with a unity power factor or normal excited condition. If the machine is excitation is decreased, then the machine is operating under lagging power factor condition. And when the machine is running with lagging power factor condition, if excitation is increased above 100%, then machine is said to be operating under leading power factor. Means when the machine is running with the lagging power factor condition, means the machine is running under the excited condition. If the machine excitation is increasing to unity condition, that means that is a 100% excitation. And if it is increasing more than 100%, that means the machine is operating at a overexcited condition. Okay. The variation of power factor with excitations are shown in the figure. The curve for the power factor looks like the inverted V curve. So, and V curve is for the armature current and excitation. Inverted V curve is for the excitation versus power factor. So this is the V and inverted curves. The V curves are drawn between the excitation and armature current. Inverted V curves are drawn between power factor and excitation. A overexcited synchronous machine runs at a leading power factor condition. Underexcited synchronous machines runs at a lagging power factor condition. Normal excited machines runs at a unity power factor condition. A overexcited condition and underexcited condition, armature current on by the machine is more. Normal excited condition, armature current is very minimum. So, as we know that a overexcited machine act as a leading power factor producer. So, synchronous motors are used for power factor corrections. So, overexcited synchronous motor is a capacitor, act as a capacitor. Power factor correcting purpose. Industrial loads driven by the induction motors and lighting load and heating loads supplied through the transformers. Both transformer and induction motor draw the lagging currents from the line. So, to improve the power factor of the line, synchronous motors are connected in parallel. The power drawn by them are large reactive component and the power factor is very low for the induction machines and transformers. This reactive component though essential for the operating the electrical machinery is losses in the main. The lagging reactive power of the induction motor and transformer required is supplied by the synchronous motors. When used in this way, a synchronous motor is called a synchronous capacitor, synchronous condenser, because it is draws like a capacitor leading current from the line. Advantage of synchronous machine over a induction machine. So synchronous motors have the following advantage over a induction motor. Synchronous machines can be used for power factor correction in addition to the supplying torque to drive loads. Synchronous machines can be used for the power factor correction as because of the synchronous machines act as lagging, leading and unity power factor condition. When synchronous machine is operating under leading condition, it is possible by the overexcited. So the machine gives the more power factor, more reactive power to the line. Synchronous machines are more efficient at unity power factor than induction machines. Synchronous machines are more efficient at unity power factor condition. The filled power rotor of a synchronous machine can permit the use of wide air gap than the squirrel cage induction machine. The field pole rotor of synchronous machine can permit the use of the air gap of the synchronous machines whenever it is a silent pole condition. The air gap is more than squirrel cage induction machine. The squirrel cage induction machine has a very lesser air gap between the stator and rotor, but as induction synchronous motor it has a more air gap between the stator and rotor. Synchronous machine can operate lagging, leading, and negative power factor condition, but induction machine only operate at lagging power factors. Synchronous machines may less costly for the same horsepower, speed, and voltage rating. And synchronous machine gives the same speed from lower to lower. If not, it is possible by the induction machine. Disadvantage of synchronous machines over induction machines. In synchronous machines, it requires DC excitation, but in induction machine, DC supply is not required. So there is no need of any external DC supply. So see the first point, the required DC excitation, which must be supplied from the external source. So it is only required in the synchronous motor, but not required in the induction machines. And coming to second point, they have the tendency to hunt. So in the synchronous machines only hunt. Hunt means maybe stops or vibrate. That means it less than or hunting means when the machine is running other than synchronous speed is called the hunting. It disturbance gives the more disturbance to the machine. Okay, third point. They cannot be used for the variable speed jobs as speed adjustment cannot be done. So as per the third point, synchronous machine is a machine which runs only at one speed. So the speed adjustments cannot be possible. So for a variable speed application, a synchronous machine is not suitable. So most of the industrial purpose, the speeds are not constant. The speeds are adjustable speeds must be required. Okay. Now coming to the fourth, they cannot be started under load. They starting down to zero. So once the almost most of the machines are started with the load, but only the synchronous machine cannot be started with the load because the synchronous machine starting torque is zero. When the starting torque is zero, there is a load on the machine at starting. The machine cannot be operated. So to start the machine initially by the different starting method, the load must not be available on the synchronous machine. Fifth point, they may fall out of the synchronous when stop when overloaded. So as per fifth point is when the machine is running, when the load is running increasing from no load to full load, the angle between the stator and rotor field axis is increasing. That is called load angle. When the load is increasing, alpha is increasing. If load is increasing beyond the more than 90%, that means load angle is increasing more than 90%, then the machine will be out of synchronization and machine will be stop rotating. So this is the comparison between the synchronous motor with the induction motor. For a given frequency, the synchronous motor runs at constant average speed, whatever the load, while the speed of the induction motor falls as what will be there. So here in the first point says that frequency is constant, even the frequency is constant for the synchronous and induction machines. The average speed is same, but when the load is increasing, the synchronous machine runs at a constant speed, but not induction machine runs. Induction machines runs lesser speed with the increasing in load, but synchronous machines runs with a constant speed with the increasing in load. The synchronous motor can operate over a wide range of power factors, both lagging, leading, and unity condition, but induction machines only operate at a lagging power factor conditions. A synchronous motor is a third point. A synchronous motor is inherently not self-starting, but induction motors is a self-starting machines. So as we said, the third point is very important. The synchronous machines are starting torque is zero, but in induction machines are starting torque is available. Okay. Fourth point, the change in applied voltage do not affect the synchronous motor torque. Affects the induction motor torque. So here is the in an induction machine supply voltage is directly proportional to the torque is directly proportional to the square of supply voltage in induction machine. But in a synchronous machine, supply voltage gives less effect to the torque change. The breakdown torque of a synchronous motor varies approximately as the first power of the applied voltage. And sixth point, DC excitation is required by the synchronous motor, but not to the induction machine. The induction machine doesn't require any supply, DC supply, any DC supply. But synchronous machine requires a DC supply. Synchronous machine applications, power factor correction, purpose, and constant load purpose, constant load driven purpose, and constant speed application purpose, and voltage regulation purpose. The synchronous motor have the following three application: powerhouse and substation. Used in powerhouse and substation in the parallel to the bus bar to improve the power factor. Factories used in factories having a large of induction motors or other power operators operating at lagging power factor to improve the power factors. Mines, industries, etc. Used in textiles, mines, rubber mills, and other big industries. Factories used in the factories having a large of induction motors or other power operators. Mills and industries used in the textile mills, rubber mills, and other big industries, cement factories, and power factor applications. Constant phase equipment used to drive the continuously operated and constant speed of equipment such as fans, blowers, centrifugal pumps, motor, generator sets, and air compressor, etc. Power factor correction, constant speed and constant load drives, and voltage regulation purpose, especially when the large load inductive load conditions. So these are the problems A synchronous motor observing the 60 kilowatt is connected in the parallel with a factory load of 240 kilowatt, having a lagging power factor of zero point 0.8. If the combined load has a power factor of zero point 0.9, what is the value of the leading kVA supplied by the motor and what power factor is working? So these are the numerics you can solve here. Load connections and phase relations are in figure 36.15.